is the Gen Z Show.
Vanessa Broadbent. Yeah.
Broadbaits?
Broadbent.
Broadbent.
Have a good one, Chuck.
See you, Chuck.
Yeah, have a good one.
Hey, so what's happening, Dakota?
I thought we were going to open up with Vanessa.
Okay, Vanessa. So tell us a little bit about yourself, Vanessa.
About myself. Okay, well, I am a full-time UFE student here. I am studying English. I'm doing my degree in English, and then I hope to go into journalism. So I do a lot of volunteer for CIVL Radio, lots of interviewing. Yeah, and I also write for the Cascade. Yeah.
That sounds really exciting.
It is.
But the reason you're here is to talk about the environment.
I'm here to talk about the environment.
So what's the major thing that's happening in the environment right now?
Well, there's quite a bit, but the thing that I'm the most concerned about is the Great Pacific Garbage Patch. Have you guys heard about that?
I've heard of
Is that from the tsunami from Japan sweeping over? And
I'm sure that has quite a bit to do with it, yeah. But what it is it has lots of names. But Garbage Island, I don't know if you guys heard of Garbage Island.
Garbage Island.
Garbage Island. What happens is there's this humongous island in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. And it's huge. It's actually, they can't really calculate exactly how big it is, but it's anywhere from twice the size of Texas to twice the size of the States. So that's massive. Like that's massive. And it's just an island full of garbage. So it's like the currents from like the west coastline of North America and the east coastline of Asia are pulling all this garbage just into the middle of the ocean, and it's just meeting there and just sitting there and just hanging out. And it's kind of scary because they're trying to clean it up, but we're adding to it faster than they can clean it up. So it's growing, like it's multiplying like very, very fast. So the next 20 years, like this is going to be a huge, huge issue. And it already is, because like what happens is most of this is just, well, it's a lot of garbage, but it's a lot of this, the scary thing actually is it's a lot of plastics and things that could be recycled. So these plastics, what happens is the UV rays from the sun, they melt them, they break them down into tiny little pieces, right? Mm-hmm. So the plastic gets broken down and it looks exactly like plankton. So all these fish and birds are eating it and they're dying from all this plastic consumption. So they're eating all this plastic instead of actual food. So it's actually destroying like whole ecosystems out there. And it's really scary. So this is kind of taking over the entire Pacific Ocean and just destroying it.
Is it just staying in the middle, or is there theories about it, going more westerly or easterly, or is it just growing in the middle?
Well, it is growing in the middle, but parts of it do drift off. Like apparently, I haven't been to Hawaii, but one of my friends actually just got back from there, and she said that the whole coast is just littered. Like it's not pretty at all anymore. I mean, I'm sure some areas are. They clean up the tourist areas. But it's just washing up on shore. That's disgusting. And even like you can look at pictures of the mouth of the LA River. You can't even see the water. It's just all garbage. You can't even see it.
Well, we're really lucky to be here in BC in the fairly pristine conditions.
Yes.
Yeah. So what are people doing about the garbage patch? I know we're adding to it faster than we can take out, but at least there's an effort being put into there.
They did try. Like it's costing a lot because it's so far away, right? That it's taking a lot of tax dollars to just ship out. Like even if they did send ships out there to fill them up with this garbage and bring it back, it's not really making that big of a dent. Some kid actually did come up with this big theory. I don't know if you guys saw it. It went viral. It was all over Facebook. It was this thing of how this kid came up with this way to change the currents to bring all that garbage back to the shore. So what they want to do is they want to somehow move the currents of the ocean so the garbage patch actually does come back to North America, and then that will be a lot easier for us to clean up because obviously we don't have to send people out in the middle of the ocean. So we don't know if that's actually going to take off and that's going to happen, but it would be kind of cool. It does sound like a good idea. But the best way to do it is just to recycle, because half of this stuff is stuff that shouldn't even be considered garbage in the first place. Right? So that's the easiest solution to this for now would just to quit adding to it. Right?
Mm-hmm. Is there any chance that if we stop putting garbage in the ocean and recycling, as you said, that it would slowly disappear? Well,
it will decompose. The thing is, it does take a while. Like plastic takes 100 years to decompose. It's in like some of the stuff will take a long. Glass never ever decomposes ever. Yeah. So any glass out there will be there forever. But over time, yes, but it's still destroying it. Because even when it decomposes, we're filling up the ocean with decomposed plastic, right? Which is still not a good solution. Like, we are contaminating the water. And there's a lot of oil out there too, right? And it takes one drop of oil to contaminate 1 million drops of water. So that's kind of scary. It's polluting our oceans. Yeah.
So, just to kind of bring it back to BC, though, but the same situation in a sense, because you just brought up oil, where do you sit with the Northern Gateway project, the one that's going through BC? You don't know anything about it?
I do know a little bit about it. I don't know enough about it to make an educated judgment on it. Can you actually brief me a little bit? I have heard a little bit of it.
Okay, well, basically, what it's going to do is run around northern BC, right, to the coast so they can ship it, things like that, right? And they're saying that it's only on 70% government-owned land and 30% not, so it's not going to apparently make that much of a dent. But that just seems like a statistic that the government was like, yeah, let's throw that out there. That sounds nice. That's decent. And also, some of the maps have lied about the geographic area. For example, there's this branch out from the river that connects to the ocean. I'm not really sure the geographic name for it, but they cut out a bunch of islands that were in between there. And if pollution or the oil spill were to happen there, that could be pretty damaging.
That's crazy. You know what? I mean, obviously, if they're lying about something like that, that's a little bit sketchy. Yeah. I'm gonna look into that. I want to know more about that. that seems.
That was a little bit of my own bias, but it was bias upon fact.
And I can see
that. Yeah.
Well, anytime, like, if they're obviously, it sounds like they're trying to cover something up, right? And to keep people from saying, like, I mean, they're obviously, if they're hiding that, there is something that people would be against.
The Aboriginal people are against it, for the most part. Some of them have agreed to it, right? The chiefs. But I figured money can work magics.
Always.
But no, I know Minnesota is the Aboriginal tribe there is definitely against it. So there's definitely BC's kind of thrown into 50-50 on the situation.
Wow.
You know what I think?
What do you think, Andy?
I think we should just use less soil.
Why don't we
use soil?
Let's use solar panels and wind and hydro. And we have the resources and the technology. We're just too lazy.
Yeah.
I know.
Definitely.
I just want to make one comment. It's not too relevant, but I noticed that.
Oh well, never mind then.
Okay.
I'm just kidding. What is it, Andy?
Like when I'm with my family and our culture, it's always about using less to save, not get more so that you have, like, say if you want to heat the house, what you do, you'd insulate the house if you're in my culture, but if you're in another culture, like I'm used to living here, it's heat the house more, use more gas, and like you pay for that, you just pay more to get more instead of using less and saving more. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think we should try to go into the culture of doing that instead of, using more to get what you want.
Well, it brings us back to one of our shows a few weeks ago, consumerism, where we were talking about just brands and things like that. It's kind of the same idea. You're just buying this brand, which is petrol oil.
Yeah.
Let's be honest.
Pretty much.
You know, I actually just wrote an article about that for Cascade about how being environmentally conscious it's become too much of an inconvenience for people.
Yeah.
And actually in the article I mentioned how I was at a local business and I asked them if there was somewhere I could recycle something, and I got kind of a fine response from this worker because they didn't feel like putting my bottle in the garbage can or in the recycling, and it was a little bit like, seriously, you can't just it's people are getting to that point. And even like back in the 50s, everything was in glass bottles because glass can be infinitely recycled. Like plastic has, I think it's 7 times that it can be recycled, whereas glass is forever. As long as you keep recycling it, it'll always keep you.
Well, you boil it down or melt it down at a certain temperature, so if there is any bacteria, it's gone.
They kill it, whereas they can't do that with plastic, right? So that's why they can't. But like in the 50s and even before that, everything was glass because of that. Whereas now our generation is so plastic is such, it's a lot more convenient than glass, so everything is plastic.
Yeah.
Like you can't buy anything without plastic now.
Yeah. Well, that's just human nature, I suppose.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we use, and then we reduce, but not reuse.
No.
Well, maybe you could educate us about recycling and reusing and conserving the environment in that way.
Okay. Well, my obviously the 3 R's we all learned this when we were little: reduce, reuse, recycle. Everyone just assumes recycle everything, which obviously is really important. But there's like the first thing is reducing, right? Like you just
Yeah.
want to make sure you reduce. Like recycling is kind of your last resort. Like if you were completely done using something, you can't use it anymore, then obviously recycle it. But why buy it in the first place? Like I know that plastic is not as recyclable as glass. So if I'm buying something that if it's in a glass jar or in a plastic bottle, I always buy the glass jar. Just because I know that they get more use out of that, right? That I'm not using up that plastic. Just little things like that. Just making environmentally conscious decisions, even like when you're grocery shopping, not when you're done with what you're using, but just, so I try to reduce the amount of plastic things I buy. Anything that has a lot of packaging, I always no. I don't like a lot of packaging. Oh, I never ever use grocery bags, like I use my own, or if I have like 3 items, I don't see the point in getting a plastic bag. I'm not gonna die if I have to carry it. Like maybe it might be a pain, but it's a really like it shouldn't
if
be
it's
that.
like
Yeah.
if it's like 2 bags of chips and peanut butter or whatever you're deciding to get that day, and you get a bag, it's kind of like, well, you got 2 arms.
See, and you'd be
2
surprised.
hands.
Like I worked in a grocery store a while ago, and like even if they have one thing, people just want it in a bag because it's so much easier.
Yeah.
But it's kind of depressing. Like really, like you
Yeah.
don't need a bag. Just so I mean, reducing is on like that makes a huge difference. Just to reduce everything, like the amount of energy, water, everything, and even actually the amount of garbage we throw away. Because landfills are just filling up like crazy, right? And it actually, 50% of all the garbage that people throw away shouldn't be garbage, which is crazy. Like a lot of it can be composted and can be recycled. So the average garbage bag that you see sitting on a curb, 50% of that shouldn't even be in there in the first place, which is kind of that's a huge number. So
Yeah.
it's kind of crazy.
Okay, let's go to the next star then.
Oh great, the next star. Okay, so reduce and then reuse. Obviously, if I absolutely have to get a shopping bag, I can't carry everything. I use that bag like until it is pretty much like falling apart and has holes in it, like.
To the point where you can't stitch it back together.
Yes, exactly. And I'm a little bit of a pack rat with that. Like I have so many things. Like I reuse bottles all the time. Like
Yeah.
I reuse everything because it's just like you might as well. And even little things like water. If I have, I don't know, a water bottle, I'm not gonna finish drinking it, I water all my plants with that. And like it's such a little thing. I think the thing is people just think, oh, it's not that big of a deal. And maybe not, but like maybe every day that adds up, right? And over time that is a big deal over time. Like it does add up. So
And if we can get everyone to start reusing,
Yes.
recycling, reducing,
yes.
it's going to make a huge difference. And it could be the difference of our race lasting for another 100 years
Yeah.
or lasting for another 10,000 years, right?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Well, just it's insane because the landfills are filling up so quickly, right? And this is really recently too. Like, what's this gonna be like in 30 years? Like, I don't know. If I ever have kids when the time they're my age, like, I don't know what they're gonna do. Like, it's gonna be kind of insane.
It's,
Yeah.
it's
What
gonna have
used
to.
to be how-
It's gonna have to be like the Mr. Nuclear Reactor thing from
Okay.
Back to the Future.
Oh, yeah.
You remember that, right?
I've seen all those in a like a lot. What I'm trying to think.
Oh, it's Mr. Fusion. Mr. Fusion.
From Back to the Future.
Yeah.
I can't recall.
What, the first one?
The second one.
The second one. Okay, I'm gonna have to watch this.
Yeah, it's
I love Back to the Future.
anyways.
Yeah, so reuse everything, like everything, even, like I work with kids and they are so creative, like you'd be surprised how much they reuse things.
Yeah.
And I think that we need to do more like that. Like little kids are like, oh, look at this empty yogurt container, I can color it and plant flowers in it. And I mean, I'm not saying you have to do that, but there are, like, you need to be a little bit creative sometimes, right? And actually a big thing is donating. Like, you'd be surprised how much furniture and clothes and shoes are taking up landfills. Which is kind of sad because, I mean, Valley Village, Salvation Army, like, I donate so much stuff there. I mean, you are helping people in your community, but you're also preventing that from just sitting in a landfill, right? So that's a huge thing, just give away things. Like maybe if you can't reuse it, someone else can.
Would
Like
you-
that's
I got a question.
Yes.
Would you say that people would throw away their clothes because they don't like the style anymore, or it's just worn out too much? And you-
I think it's a bit of both. I mean, I understand there are, like, I do try to donate as much as I can, but some of it is not donatable. Like, no one's going to want to buy
Yeah.
that. Like, it's
Yeah.
really old. I mean, and then then that's the exception, right? Like, I mean, sometimes there is garbage that you have to throw away. But I think a lot of people, they couldn't be bothered. Like, throwing things away is very convenient. It's very easy. It's right now, we have a trash can, we just chuck it in. Who really wants to drive to Value Village and bring all their clothes? And, like, it's inconvenient, right?
Mhm.
I think that's a big thing. Yeah, so reuse everything.
Yeah. Except toilet paper.
Yes, of course, of course.
Okay, and then there's that final R.
Recycle. So yeah, recycle everything, and that's our last resort. Like, you've reduced everything, you reuse everything, and then of course you recycle it. So I mean, this is different in other areas. Like, I know for Chilliwack people, the things they can recycle are a little bit different than in Abbotsford and Mission and stuff. But you have to check what's recyclable in your area. But recycle everything, like everything that you can. I mean, and a lot of people, just because it can't go necessarily in your recycling doesn't mean you can't. Like, a lot of places will take back things. Like, I'm not sure if you can put batteries and light bulbs in your recycling. I don't think you can. But there's actually places that'll pay you to take your batteries.
Yeah.
'Cause they can reuse them.
Like
and
at
bring
scrap
Yeah.
yards and stuff.
Like, and you actually get money for that.
Yeah.
Like, if you bring even, like, I think a car battery, like, you get quite a bit.
Yeah, you get like
money.
I think you get about $18.
Yeah, I mean, that's $18. Like,
Yeah.
I want that.
There's people who collect batteries for a living.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so-
And actually, they go around to, like, scrap yards and they'll find them and return them because they are worth money.
Yeah.
So things like that, maybe if it doesn't necessarily go in your recycling bin, you still can find somewhere to put it.
Mhm.
So places will buy that.
Most electronic stores will actually just take in your electronic
Yeah.
products, for example, cell phones, TVs, things like that.
Yeah. They
Even
will.
if they're like damaged, they find components that they can use and things like that. But out of the 3 R's, which ones do you think are the least used in modern society today?
Oh, you know what? I would say the least used. I don't know. I would almost think all of them because they were like.
Well, like the one specifically that stands out the most, like
The
recycling.
most?
I think we do a lot of. We do recycle
It's
a lot of
pushed a lot.
bottles. Yeah,
It is pushed a lot.
that's the one that was definitely pushed the most out of our
You know
childhood. Reuse was. This is my opinion though. Reuse. I think a lot of people do that. Like they reuse paper bags for the garbage, whatever. It's better than just throwing away, bags and things. But I would say reduce.
I would have to agree with you because that isn't pushed as much. Like, people
Yeah.
reuse things because it's cheaper. Everyone likes saving money.
Yeah.
And recycling is pushed. Like, it is. I mean, in Europe, I've heard this, that in Europe it's actually illegal to not recycle, which I think is amazing, and I would
Yeah.
love to see that here. That would be awesome. But unfortunately, it's not here.
In Korea, it's pretty strict too.
It is strict. It totally should be. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, it should be.
I mean, it makes sense, right?
It does.
Especially if you're living in a very populated area, if
Vancouver.
everyone's just like shoving things in their garbage, it's just gonna be piling up everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it totally is. But yeah, reducing. I mean, people don't even realize, I think, that they're not. Like, it's just so.
Well, like it's practically like second nature. We're
It
just
is.
all like, I gotta have like 7 colas today.
Yeah. And even, like, I'm guilty of that. I mean, like, when I'm at home, like, my light's on, or I'm looking at my computer, but, like, the TV's on, and the radio's on, and is that really necessary? Like, I mean, I try not to, but I think we just don't even realize how much energy we're using, how much. Like, do you really need to charge your phone if it's at 80%? Does it have to be charged back up to 100 all the time? Like, probably not.
Yeah. No, I let it die a lot of days, and
Yeah.
I'm just like, okay, I'll charge it now.
Yeah, like, it's not, I don't think we really realize, because it's so convenient, right? Like, there's an outlet in every room, we can just plug stuff in, like, we don't realize how convenient everything is, and that makes us use a lot more, right, when we don't really need to.
Yeah.
Maybe the solution to solving this environmental crisis is to make everything that we support, recycling, reducing, and reusing, more convenient. You got any ideas on how we could do that?
I haven't always
Make it more
been
convenient.
that environmentally, actually, like, environmentally active until I really learned the issues behind it. Because I think, I mean, we don't really see the first, like, the impact that we have, and It wasn't actually until when I learned about the garbage patch, I was shocked. Like, I didn't realize how big that was. And the first thing I thought was, like, I really hope my garbage is not out there. Because that's depressing. Like, knowing that I might have added to that, even if it was just a couple pop bottles or whatever, that kind of made me almost feel sick, knowing that, like, some animal might have died because I didn't feel like putting my pop bottle in the recycling. Like, it's really kind of depressing. And I think just spreading that awareness, a lot of people don't know that. Like, when you tell them that and you explain the impact they have, and even when you tell them that 50% of the garbage doesn't need to be garbage, and I think that a lot of people, it's not that they don't want to be environmentally conscious, they just don't realize that. Like, they don't realize the impact that they could have. So I think awareness would be the biggest thing.
Okay.
I would say, like, a lot of, like, bottles and things like that that
Mhm.
can be recycled, they have the little triangle on the bottom.
Yes.
You can see it's the arrows, right?
Mhm.
I find a lot of them make it super small, where it should be something a little bit bigger.
It should be. It's not very noticeable at all.
Yeah, like, you
It's
can
not.
feel it with your thumb, but
Yeah.
you're not going to care for it.
No.
Like, it's in ridiculous places, like on the bottom of the bottle,
Yeah.
or like
And sometimes you just search for it.
Yeah,
Sometimes
yeah.
you really have to look for it. And even then,
the
unfortunately,
opposite side of the cap. Some of the bottles are actually
it?
like, yeah, you pop that cap off. You're not looking at it. You're
No.
putting it down.
you don't even realize. Yeah,
Yeah.
they could make it a little bit more noticeable.
We just
for
solved the
sure.
world problem on the Generation Z show.
Make triangles
Yes.
bigger.
Yes.
Basically, yeah.
Triangles bigger. That would be awesome. That'd be
Yeah.
awesome. I wonder why they don't. I mean, I'm sure they have a reason behind that.
Because it's just the plastic. It costs so much.
To make it a little bigger. Oh.
Or just go straight to glass, but whatever.
Yeah. Glass would be awesome. If everything was glass, that'd be awesome.
It's
Doesn't
got a
take-
better taste, I think.
Oh, it does.
Like
It does.
for drinks and beverages.
And it's actually safer too, right? Because if you leave your water bottle in the car, like, I don't know if you guys heard this, but recently they just discovered that plastic water bottles that get, if you leave them in the car, the plastic will kind of seep into the water, and that causes all types of cancer, actually.
Okay.
So that's really dangerous. Where the
I've
glass
heard-
bottles, not at all.
I've heard otherwise.
You have.
I've
Okay.
some people say it's a myth, some people say it's a concern. Who knows what? But yeah.
You know,
Well, you did taste it. You did taste it, kind
Oh,
of,
yeah.
right?
You definitely
So-
do, yeah. It's
and
gross.
that can't be healthy. Like, who wants to drink plastic water, anyways?
I
agree
do.
with
And just that the
I mean,
concern is out there, I mean, it shows that they're.
Well, it's in the ocean anyway, so
Oh.
if all the fish are drinking it, why can't people?
Drinking it and dying from it. That should say something.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is.
Are there any like other myths and concerns people have about environmental consciousness that you want to debunk?
Myths and concerns.
I mean, like maybe people think, okay, if you keep using paper bags, it's better than plastic bags because they decompose. But in reality, paper bags use more energy, more water, and pollute the environment when you cut down trees. So
Yes.
it's really not as good as plastic bags.
It's not. You know what? That's a big thing too, actually. Both of them are kind of. It's hard because plastic. The thing about plastic is that once you make it, it never goes away. Like it's one of the, like, paper does decompose, but plastic doesn't. We're kind of cursing ourselves by making more plastic because we're making this product and it doesn't really go anywhere. Like, you recycle it, but eventually, like, it gets to the point where it can't be recycled anymore, and then it just sits there and fills up landfills. And even when it does finally decompose, it just seeps in the soil and ruins it.
Yeah. Have you heard about the plastic rocks that are forming? They're like
No.
hard pieces of plastic melted together, forming these rocks on the coast because it's just washed up bottles.
That's crazy.
It melts down and then pressure the sand
Yeah.
puts it all together.
Yeah.
You get this plastic weird rock, but it's not good.
No, that doesn't sound good. See, so that versus paper, like, paper does take more energy, but like, we were cutting down trees, but it is compostable and it isn't destroying the environment. So they're both kind of like.
I would still say plastic
I would,
is like
yeah.
that 3% more dangerous to the
It's
environment.
hurting. Yeah, it is hurting the environment, whereas paper isn't. But it's kind of a toss-up. So my solution is, don't use it.
Yeah, that was what I was thinking.
That is, yeah, that, and those cloth bags, I mean, like, you buy them once, you can use them so much. Like, they're not gonna rip apart like paper and plastic bags. I have them in my car, like, they are kind of a pain to carry around. But
You
it
can
doesn't
make
feel
custom
like
ones out of your old pair of jeans that you just
exactly.
throw out.
Yeah, totally. And you don't actually have to go buy them. You can totally use them, old bags, whatever.
Yeah.
I've seen like those grocery bags that you carry around, but they're like smaller, so you can just put it in your pocket.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and there's always alternatives to things for like the what bags.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And that goes back to the inconvenience thing, right? Because people
Yeah.
like, seriously, you know, I have to bring in these bags and carry them around when I'm shopping. It's so much easier to just get them to bag your groceries at this mill.
Yeah.
But really, it's not
To
bad.
be honest, the overall convenience of switching from oil to natural power, like,
Mhm.
would be so much more convenient for generations down the road. Like, I don't think they understand that.
Mhm.
A lot of people who run these corporations and things, obviously they're going for profits, but
Yeah.
maybe we should be thinking more along the lines of maybe, you know, making places safer, not
Yeah.
having oil spills. That would be nice. You never hear of a solar spill.
No, you're right.
Or a wind spill.
It would be nice. It's just people are. We have to make that change now, right? And no one wants to do that. I mean, it would make a huge difference in the future, but
Yeah.
it's a pain.
And with the like and like the economic, it's not really a crisis anymore, but it's not that great either, right? And that's a big problem. Oil is super convenient. Everyone knows it's a proven method of getting rich, so that's what people follow. When you have wind, nuclear, solar, none of these technologies have been proven as much as oil has, economically, and nor is the technology if good enough and convenient enough that anyone can pick it up. So that's a big problem.
I would say it's mostly our problem though, that we're not choosing that. Because you can go to Home Depot. I'll be honest, Home Depot, they sell solar panels.
Well, yeah,
You can
but
go there.
they don't generate very much power.
Oh no.
They have an
of course.
efficiency of maybe 8%. So we roughly every square meter of the Earth receives about a kilowatt of power, and a solar panel costs like $400 just to make that big of a panel. Or it depends where you buy it, right? But you're probably gonna look around a couple $100. So the power you're getting out of it with the money you're putting in is not worth it. So yeah, that's hopefully the scientists of our society will figure that out.
Well, they ran a car off solar power. down
Well,
in the
yeah,
States.
but I mean, there's lots of cars that can run off of solar power. The only problem is you can only fit one person to it. It costs like $500,000,
Yeah.
and you have no cargo space
Yeah.
and no air conditioning.
And it does get kind of hot.
Yeah, so
That too.
as we were saying, convenience is the big deciding factor.
But maybe that's what we need. Maybe we need a big auto company to buy into solar panels and other types of technology. And maybe
Yeah.
try advancing it. Because let's be honest, that's the only way it probably would. Is
I-
if people invested.
Yeah, I know that Obama and his like little presidential people, they are putting a lot of money into it. Maybe not enough, but yeah, we'll see in the future though.
Alright.
Anyways, we're at our halfway point in our show, and Vanessa, I'm sure you want to head out to the concert that's happening today.
I have to
Okay.
run out there and talk to some people.
Yeah. Well, thanks for being here though.
No worries. Thanks for having me
Yeah.
on your show.
Hopefully we can solve the problems of our society.
By
Our
talking
generation-
about them.
We're on it.
Yeah,
We're
well,
on it. We're getting there.
we're gonna inspire people. We're gonna
Yes.
inspire people to do the right thing.
Yes.
So everybody, think about the turtles and jellyfish and all the
Yes.
other creatures in the sea, and you know,
The birds.
the
The
birds.
birds.
The bees.
The birds.
Okay, that's good. Anyways, Vanessa, you're going to the Envision Concert Series today.
I am.
What's happening there?
Actually, this is really exciting. So I don't know if you guys remember, but a couple months ago we had the CIVL Radio singer-songwriter competition, and we had the 3 finalists. They were Tristan Smith, Franklin Curry, and John Welsh, and they all competed and played at the Heat game. And tonight, actually, they're all going to be playing at the Envision Concert Series. So it's the 3 finalists from CIVL Radio's own singer-songwriter competition that'll be there. So I'm really excited for that. It will be fun. I was on the selection committee for the singer-songwriter competition, and all 3 of them were like some of my favorites. And
Awesome.
It's gonna be exciting to see them there. So.
Yeah, well, I'll be there too if you want to see me in person, and I probably be emceeing there.
Cool.
So yeah, I'll see you there, and thanks for being on the show.
Thank you.
Anyways, we have a new remix of our Generation Z show song,
So we just want to demo
kind of
it.
promo. So yeah, we'll just play it here and tell us how it goes.
We're back. Welcome back to the Generation Z show on 101.7 FM. I'm Dakota Leslie.
I'm Andy Lee.
Alright, recently, July 16th, 2014, in Zurich, Switzerland, Johnny Winter passed away. Johnny Winter was born February 23rd, 1944, in Beaumont, Texas, United States. His spouse was Susie Winter, and siblings, Edgar Winter. He was a great blues musician. He played with a lot of blues musicians and bands such as Muddy Waters and etc. Sorry, Johnny. But no, he's going to be greatly missed. He was a great impact to the music industry. None of us here knew him personally, but we respect music and we like to play music. Isn't that right, Andy?
Yes.
Yeah. So, best wishes to Johnny Winter's family, and yeah, hopefully his music lives on forever. Alright, Andy, what do you got for us? He's gonna pull up a Johnny Winter song right now.
Well, a bunch of people can shoot down airplanes. Maybe like Johnny with his glare, or Chuck with his cursing and yelling, but, you know.
Well, on a more serious note though, what principle or policy or anything that they could force out of a book to justify shooting down a civilian aircraft?
I see very few, so yeah.
Alright. Do you think the UN would respect something like this, or is it under investigation?
Everything gets investigated nowadays, so
yes.
I think this would get investigated as well.
What do you think the outcome's gonna be by chance?
Who knows? I really don't know enough to say what's gonna happen.
Yeah. Also, the Middle East, let's go there for a little bit. Just really
actually, we don't want to go over there.
Oh,
not with what's happening.
Yeah, well, fair enough. I already canceled my flight. Yeah, I was gonna dump you and share your girlfriend, but no. In Palestine and Israel, right? We all know about the border conflict. You know, Palestine wants to be its own sovereign state. The UN wants to allow it. Israel's like, no, we want that area, whatever. I don't know what the deal with Zionism is. Everybody gives me a different definition when they ask them, especially on that Islam versus Christianity site.
Okay,
Facebook.
I don't think that's a reliable...
No, it definitely isn't, but I can't find a reliable source anywhere.
Okay.
If anybody is 100% sure on what they believe is Zionism, please send it to me, because I can't figure it out. Regardless, there was a ceasefire recently, and I'm not sure which side, because there's a bunch of websites and news organizations that are choosing sides, which is weird. Some are saying that Israel fired into Palestine. Some are saying Palestine fired into Israel during the ceasefire. No one's really sure who started it. A lot of people will take Israel's side for whatever reason. I take the middle ground where I don't know. Andy takes the middle ground, I'm assuming.
It's kind of like the story, I think it's of King David, where one of his soldiers slays a snake and a war breaks out. Have you ever heard of that one?
No, not well. Like I've read, yeah.
Basically, I can't remember if it's David or Solomon, but basically there's two groups, opposing groups, and they agree there's gonna be no war as long as nobody kills each other. But one of the soldiers goes and chops off a snake's head, and someone sees the blood on the sword, and that's how the war starts. But the moral of the story is, it doesn't matter who started the war, or for any reason. If you're in conflict with each other, war really isn't the answer.
Yeah. War. What is it good for?
Absolutely not.
Thank you, Aaron.
Nothing.
Aaron was whispering the song over there. But no, like, absolutely, war is good for nothing.
Yeah, except for video games.
Well, yeah, you know. No, he's definitely right. That's a huge market. Aaron was laughing, just in case if anybody's wondering why I spin off like that. But anyway, Andy's definitely right. You can definitely find a big fan group for military-type games that are nothing like the military.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you, like, think of the military on adrenaline and, like, steroids, then sure, yes, you can jump up walls and shoot someone in quick scope, 360, no scope. things like that.
I'll pretend I know what you just said.
I used to be part of Optic. It's no big deal.
Great.
Yeah.
DOW or whatever it's called.
DOW?
DOX.
Docs.
What does that mean?
That means collecting personal information on somebody. So basically, your phone number, your address, your things like that. He's asking me about that because I own somebody on the same situation that we just discussed about. Yeah.
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 Okay.
It's a funny story for another time that won't come up.
Okay. Well, it's probably a good time to start a rundown of our contact info and what's going on in town.
Alright, so let's start with contact info because...
Well, I was thinking we start off with the events that are happening.
Well, fine. God.
Okay. If you got, so first of all, we have the Envision Concert Series. This week is a civil battle, as Vanessa was saying, with the 3 finalists at Mill Lake, at the Keratin Art Gallery. It's at Red Building. It's from 6 to probably around 8:30, 9ish. And yeah, I'll be there. Next up, we have Thursday Jam and Jubilee. I'm not sure who's playing, but it should be pretty awesome. I'll probably post a link up online, facebook.com/GenZShow. And also, I'm hosting like two more events. I'm not gonna say them on the air, but if you're interested, just message me.
Yeah, also, just in case if you didn't hear it was facebook.com/GenZShow, youtube.com/GenZShow. Once again, yes, I did fix the URL, that's what you can use, youtube.com/GenZShow. Or you can contact us at GenZShow, @gmail.com. And that's pretty much it. Is there any other events or things you want to say?
Not that comes to mind. Just a little news flash. I am going away to university in Waterloo, if you didn't hear, so I won't be part of this show starting from around August 15th. But no reason to worry because we have three co-hosts that are
replacing just him.
Yeah.
And when I leave, there's another 3 that'll replace me.
Yeah. we fill pretty big shoes, but just wanted to let all our listeners know that if you want to get involved with CIVL, if you're a business, there's advertising opportunities, sponsorship opportunities. If you're a volunteer or a student, you can get involved with tech, you can get involved with hosting, you can get involved with radio. Erin's here, who is our videographer and photographer. She's shooting our videos for YouTube. And Connor Gilmore, he designed our shirts.
The current one that he's wearing, it's the cartoon one, and he designed the more single color digital kind of look.
Yeah, it's cheaper, so you should buy that one. Spend less.
Spend less.
Yeah, but if you want to buy them, by all means.
Well, look at it on the bright side though. If they pay a little bit more, they get to sleep with the original host of the Gen Z show on their chest.
That's slightly creepy.
No, it's okay because when they look down, we're looking up. Erin's scared.
I'm terrified.
Yeah. Well, so maybe I can try to fill in everyone with what my future's looking like.
Sure, but really quick though. In 3 weeks' time from now, there's going to be the Sunday gig. If you're a local musician or know a musician who's willing to play at the flea market from 10 to 2, it's a 4-hour set. Just contact me at Facebook. You can message the Facebook page. You can text me once you figure out what my phone is, because I'm not saying it on there.
Docs
me. That is your challenge. Anyway, let's talk about Andy's life really quick for 5 minutes.
Okay, great. So I'm going to the University of Waterloo to
Fantastic.
That's all you need to know, right? As long as I'm gone, I'm gone. Anyways, I'll fill all my other listeners in what I'm really doing. So I'm going to University of Waterloo for mechanical engineering, studying, I don't know, whatever mechanical engineers like to study, I suppose.
He really prepared this.
Yeah, I know. Hopefully we can get the Generation Dead Show East Coast version over there at Waterloo. Erin said he could help me out if you're listening, but who knows. Yeah, and we're looking to do some big things. If you're part of CBC or a big radio company, if you want to hear the Generation Z show on your frequencies, just let us know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, and I'm also going to Alaska.
Yeah, what are you doing in Alaska?
I don't know. Just riding a boat.
Riding a boat and visiting Sarah Palin, or what?
Pretty much, yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, try and get her autograph or something.
Why?
Get a quote for her next debate. Something really intelligent, like leaving windows open on an airplane or something.
Yeah. Free air conditioning.
Yes. I think we should probably just go into the end of our show. Let's go for an outro.
Okay. Well, this is the Generation Z show on 101.7 FM. Thanks for tuning in again. We're broadcasting one more again next week, Saturday, 5 to 6. We'll fill you in on what's happening. Just check our Facebook page.
This is the Gen Z Show.